outsiders to mine their land and have firmly established their willingness to resist, even with primitive weapons. So Jake was selected to operate an avatar body, which is exactly like the bodies of Pandora's natives, and infiltrate their community. His mission was to gain information regarding their land, defenses, and most importantly, their sacred tree, which stands directly above a huge deposit of unobtainium. Upon arrival, he's initially met with hostility, but the pure spirits released by the sacred tree shine their favor on Jake and provide the first indication that he had been chosen. The hostility he was initially met with turns into acceptance, and slowly, Jake begins to feel affection for the natives. Further, he is growing increasingly close to Natiri, who is the daughter of the clan leader. After telling the Navi that he had been sent to infiltrate them, Jake once again finds himself an outcast. But Jake still wants to help the Navi fight the RDA Corporation, so he sets out to do something that no native has done in generations: ride and control a dragging-looking animal the natives call the Last Shadow. After succeeding, he arrives with the beast and impresses them enough to not only regain acceptance, but become leader. He sets out to unite all the neighboring tribes under his leadership, and they accept his leadership. Jake, with his army of natives, defeats the RDA Corporation and sends the surviving employees home. Instead of returning home, Jake decides to stay with the primitive people and take the local, Natiri, for a wife. At the end, he undergoes permanent body transformation into the body of a Navi. Even the movie's title alludes to who Jake really is. The word avatar has two definitions. The first is a human incarnation or embodiment of a god. The second definition is a virtual identity. This story sounds a bit like The Man Who Would Be King. A guy arrives to a primitive land with a con up his sleeve so that he may steal its valuable metals, but slowly he comes to appreciate the natives and forgets about his original plan to get the gold and run. Ultimately, he becomes leader and decides to stay and take a wife. But what Avatar really sounds like is Pocahontas. In Pocahontas, privateers of the Virginia Company are arriving to the east coast of America from England in search of gold. John Smith, the Jake Sully of Pocahontas, is one of those privateers. On his first scouting mission, he's spotted by a native Indian girl who had wandered away from her village nearby. The girl so happens to be the daughter of the chief. They begin a rather forbidden relationship, and soon John's relationship with his gold-hungry leader sours. He begins to play the role of a negotiator and succeeds in preventing war between the natives and the British privateers. Jake Sully from Avatar and John Smith from Pocahontas have a little too much in common. Both arrive to a primitive land with other privateers in search for a valuable metal. Both go off alone and are first spotted by the nature-freak daughter of the local chief. In Avatar, it's the Tree of Souls that shines its favor on Jake, while Grandmother Willow from Pocahontas fancies John Smith. Both would eventually be captured. Both Pocahontas and Natiri from Avatar are being pressured to marry a skilled and humorless warrior for which they have no desire. Both pairs fall in love, and finally, both Jake Sully and John Smith would play the role of negotiators for peace. Only the ending is different. Another story of interest, written by James Cameron, is Strange Days. Strange Days is a seriously underrated movie. Strange Days was released in 1995 and takes place at the very end of the year 1999. The movie depicts an America in a state of martial law, where the economy has collapsed and the cops are as bad as the criminals. The film depicts a technology called Squid. After being placed on the head, an apparatus containing squid receptors is capable of recording everything that its wearer is experiencing. These memories are recorded onto a disc, and by using the same apparatus, those memories can be replayed and experienced by anyone at any time. In the movie, the main character, a former cop named Lenny, is a black market dealer of electronically recorded memories. From an unknown source, he begins receiving first-person memory recordings of a series of murders. The story is well written and has a nice twist at the end. Squid, or superconducting quantum interference device, is a real technology. A squid is a small electronic component that detects extremely small magnetic fields. Most of the squid's real-world applications have yet to be discovered, but already this device has found scientific application. It turns out that biological organisms create weak magnetic fields, which makes the squid perfect for monitoring neural activity, which is electric in nature. Also, because of its sensitivity, squid can be used in MRI machines that don't have to expose the body to the powerful magnetic field that current MRI machines use. James Cameron also wrote the first 3 Terminator films and directed the first 2. The Terminator series certainly has a chosen one feel to it. The entire series of movies essentially chronicles the life of John Connor. John Connor is the future leader of the human race in our war with the machines. In this case, James Cameron and many others used machines to symbolize demons, or those who had undergone transformation. This works out well for 2 reasons. First, the incredible strength that robots can be depicted with, and secondly, because of the more computer-like nature of demons. Most of us are familiar with the theme of a devilish version of oneself sitting on one shoulder while their angelic copy is sitting on the other. But there's a thread of truth to this. Each person is assigned both a demon counterpart and an angelic counterpart. The demon counterpart whispers dark thoughts into the mind, encouraging it to do evil, while the angelic counterpart, or guardian angel, encourages you to do righteous things and protects you from things unseen. A movie that uses this concept of a demon counterpart is The Golden Compass.
There are many universes and many Earths parallel to each other. Worlds like yours, where people's souls live inside their bodies, and worlds like mine, where they walk beside us as animal spirits we call demons.
In The Golden Compass, everyone walks around with their demon counterpart, which takes the form of an animal that stays at their side. The movie includes a universe with multiple dimensions, multiple copies of the planet Earth, and a mysterious element called dust, mysterious to the point of comedy. This dust, which is flowing from another universe, is entering into people by using their demons as an entry point. The Magisterium, the antagonist of the film, claim that this dust is making people act badly, and so begins researching a procedure to cut people's demons away. One of the Magisterium's success stories, shown here, had his demon removed, and now he just sits in a corner.
Have a demon.
Where's my letter? Have you seen her?
It's pretty clear that the movie was meant to instill in the minds of children positive connotations to demons. Surrogates is another movie that illustrates the avatar body concept, but uses machine symbolism instead. The screenplay for Surrogates was written by yet another screenwrite duo, Michael Ferris and John Brancato. This pair, like Terry Rossio and Ted Elliott, have collaborated on a number of projects, including Terminator 3 and 4, Catwoman, and The Net. In Surrogates, most people live their daily lives using a machine body called a surrogate, while their real body is at home, lying idle in a chair. The surrogates appear to use a squid-like system, like depicted in Strange Days, to communicate to the human host. These surrogate bodies are much stronger than their fleshly counterparts, and because no one would choose an ugly body, all surrogates are good-looking. The film does drop a few hints relating to what is actually happening here. Meatbags, as they are called, are people who walk around in the flesh, rather than living their daily lives in a surrogate body. But when the term is used, it sounds more like a derogatory reference to a separate race, the race of the meatbags.